Hello, welcome back to Erica's at Welsh Garden. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today we're just at home in front of the greenhouse and I'm so excited to be sharing a tour of my greenhouse with you. Now, I don't think throughout June at all I have done a tour of the greenhouse. Things have been really busy, and one thing that I don't think I've actually mentioned in any of my videos recently, but next door but one are having a complete house renovation. It's really exciting for them, but it has meant that quite often there's really loud building work going on. They're working in the garden, or maybe they have the radio on really loud, so I've not been able to come out and do any filming when that's going on, but it's really exciting for the area and bringing an old house back to life, really. So hopefully that is going to be finished in the next 2 or 3 months, so I can resume doing much more videos out here. But also I have been just really busy, so I'm really excited to show you what I've got growing at the moment. And being the very end of June, beginning of July, I probably have a pretty empty greenhouse compared to most other people, but it is my first year with the greenhouse, so I think it's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to what grows well and what doesn't, because I've had quite a lot of failures in the greenhouse. But anyway, enough of me talking, let's go and have a look. Before we get into the video as well, I'm just going to have to apologise about the lighting. We started the video out underneath the shade of a beautiful tree, and now we're inside here with absolutely no shade and the lighting is terrible. It's about to reach the midday sun now, and I don't know how hot it is in here, but it's absolutely baking. Let's have a look at the temperature. Okay, so we're on 35 degrees centigrade, but looking at this, the maximum it's been in here is 60 degrees centigrade, so I'm definitely happy that I wasn't in here when it was that hot, because I'd have probably melted. But as I said, I've not got loads going on at the moment in here. A few of the crops that I thought were going to be good have failed. But actually, before I start showing you around, I want to show you that I've harvested my first lot of potatoes this morning. The variety of potatoes is Charlotte. As you can see, it's an absolutely tiny harvest. I had a 35-litre bucket, and I put them in at the very beginning of the season, and I kept them in here. And then I didn't actually earth them up at all, left them outside. I think the only watering that they had were from like the rain and stuff, and then the other day I noticed that they died, so I thought best to get them harvested today. I've like rejuvenated the soil, topped it all the way up to the top of the bucket, and I've put some sunflowers in there that someone gave me. And then I think once I've got some dwarf French beans coming through that I've sown in pots and stuff, I can then put some in there, and then it will be quite a nice little pot, really, you know, with some sunflowers and some beans underneath. Also, I've had a little bit of a fail this year, because these are some beans that I saved from last year. So the black ones are Brecon Black, which is was given to me actually by Adam Alexander, who is a seed guardian, and he's got a place down in Monmouth, I think. He sent me the Brecon Black because it's a local variety. And I've also got these ones which are Blore-Hilled, which is a purple climbing French bean. And basically I saved all of these last year, and then when I was sowing them really late this year, I left this outside overnight and they got completely soaked in the rain, and unfortunately I don't think they're going to be viable now, and I didn't even think about it at the time. I could have brought them back in first thing in the morning and maybe cooked them, but yeah, I've wasted all of those beans. I'm really upset about that, but I've got all of these growing, so fingers crossed that none of those crops fail this year, and I can then save them again for next year, because that's like one meal gone, isn't it? So enough of me complaining, let's get on and have a look at what I've got growing. So in this bed here, I've got some tree spinach at the back, but it's really not doing very well at all, to be honest. It's so wispy and quite dainty, really, but I've never grown it before, so it'd be interesting to see how it does. I do have a third one here, but unfortunately the top bit's got cut off, so we'll see how it does, but I'm not holding out much hope. If you've grown it before, let me know any tips that you have. At the back here, I've got a kale plant. I thought I'd just put it in there and see what would happen. It's probably going to bolt, I would imagine, but I've never grown anything in summer in here before, so we'll see how that one does. I've got some Ailsa Craig onions here. These got put in quite late, and I was planning on using them as a bit of a spring onion type thing, but they're doing okay, but you know, nothing great. I'm not sure if you can see, but down here I had a courgette plant. I thought if I could put a courgette in here, I'd be getting courgettes really quickly, but it's got completely eaten by a slug. There's a remainder of some salad as well. I put quite a lot of salad in here, hoping that I'll be having salad every single day. And this one, there must be a couple of slugs living in here because they completely munched out on everything. I've got just a little flower here that will hopefully grow and flower and kind of attract pollinators and stuff. But one thing that you can't see in here is I've put a load of dwarf French beans. I think it was 2 days ago now, and I think I can see one here actually, but it's not germinated yet, and nor have any of the others. So hopefully we'll get some French beans in here. The French bean varieties I grow in Dwarf are just for drying, so hopefully they grow really nicely and they will mature quite nicely in the greenhouse. So we're just at the top of the long raised bed now, and I am so excited to share my Dwarf French beans with you. The variety is Canadian Wonder, and they will give you a bright red kidney bean. So these won't be picked when they're like kind of the fresh beans. They will be left to dry and harden on the plants. So hopefully we'll get a really nice harvest of these. These are actually saved seeds from last year. And if you don't know, with a French bean, especially a dwarf one, they don't cross-pollinate. So if you want to start saving your seeds, they are a perfect crop to have a go with. But I've got 3 beans on here, and I think I've got another 3 behind. So hopefully we'll have quite a good crop, despite there being quite a lot of slug damage. So fingers crossed. And behind it, we then have the tomato plant. So I'll just move the camera and we can have a better look at the tomatoes. So altogether I have 5 tomato plants growing in this long raised bed. I had plans on growing loads more tomatoes in here, but this is all I've got at the moment, and they're all exactly the same variety, which is Tigerella. Not a variety that I've grown before, but fingers crossed they do quite well. And as you can see, I'm using tomato halos as well. I really love using these because they give you a really big reservoir that you can water, and then it will drip irrigate them all day. Absolutely perfect if you can't check on your greenhouse during the day, or it's down the allotment. And you can probably use these for other things like pumpkins or squash, but I've only ever used them for tomatoes. So if you want more information on those, I did actually do a video, so I'll put that above in the cards now. But as you can see, there's just loads of dark compost here, and the reason for that is I had loads of salad growing in here, which all completely bolted because it got too hot. So my plan for having cut and come again lettuce all year has gone out the window, but I have actually planted some more seeds in here. So I've got some dwarf French beans called Gok growing in here. They came from the Heritage Seed Library. They're a variety that you also use for drying, and interestingly, one side's quite pink and one side is quite green in the pod. So they're quite a nice little variety, but they're grown from seed as well. But unfortunately I can't show you because they haven't germinated yet, but sorry, they have obviously grown from seed, but they are grown from saved seed from last year. At the very end of the bed now, interestingly, I don't know if you can see, I've got a purple kale plant here. Like the kale up there, I thought I'd just put a kale in and see what happens. I've got some dwarf French beans here called Zephyra, and they actually came from Charles Dowding's house. He had some left over when I went to visit him, so he gave me some of those, but one has been completely nibbled there. So it'd be quite interesting to see how they grow. I think they're from saved seed as well. I've got one lettuce here which is still clinging on for dear life. Rather than using it as a cut and come again, I'm just going to let that bulk out and see if I can just get kind of one harvest from that later on. And I have a nasturtium here. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but like down there, I've got nasturtium up here, and hopefully that will invite some pollinators to come and have a look around the greenhouse and hopefully pollinate all of my tomatoes. So round to the other side of my greenhouse now, and on this unit here is where I do most of my propagating. Earlier in the year I did have things like all over the beds and on the floor as well, but at the moment now, being in mid-July, I've just got a small area now with 2 shelving units with things growing on. So in this one here, I have Blorhild growing in here, which is the purple climbing French bean, all from saved seed. And then on the right hand side, I have some Zafari. That came from Sutton Seeds actually. I've not grown it before, but it's the same variety as the one that I got from Charles Dowding. So it'd be interesting to see the new seeds compared to like saved seeds, how well they do and things like that. But to be honest, the Zafari down there, they are being nibbled so much I might not even get cropped from those. And then down below we also have some Blorhild, we have some Zafari as well, and also because I have been really bad this year at getting around for things, I've also put a small tray of some sprouting broccoli in there as well. I don't know how many seeds I put in there, I just sprinkled a few, but apart from that, that is all I have growing in terms of seeds at the moment. I think when the winter comes this year, I really need to do a lot more planning about how I'm, you know, when I'm going to be starting seeds and things like that, because it's all this time of year just got a little bit out of control, and now I'm just struggling to look after things. And then the next thing we're going to look at is my onions that I'm storing, which are down here. So underneath here is where I'm storing the onions that I actually harvested from my polytunnel a couple of weeks ago now. The variety is Radar, and if you didn't watch that video, I will put a link above to that in the cards now and down below in the description, because I think this is probably one of my best harvests ever. I grew these over winter in the polytunnel, never usually grown anything in there before, and I can't believe how good the harvest is. The variety is Radar, and I grew them from sets, so I'm so pleased with them. But we're getting through them really quickly at the moment, and I have all of my other onions down at the allotment that I need to harvest as well. So once they've dried for a couple more weeks, I think I'll plat them and take the remainder back in the house. There you go, that is what I've got growing in my greenhouse in early July. I'm sure compared to a lot of seasoned gardeners, I'm really behind, but considering it's my first year, I'm really pleased with how well things are doing in there at the moment. Let me know how my greenhouse compares with yours at the moment and how you're finding this season. And also, if you've got any tips for the greenhouse in midsummer when it's getting so hot, please let me know. I'm going to leave the video here, so thank you so much for watching. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, please do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of all of my latest videos. As ever, YouTube have some videos up now on the screen that they think you'll like, so please go ahead and watch those, and I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye!